Are we live? Okay, what up ladies and gents, it's your favorite Asian robot right here, and today I'm gonna teach you about the Voidstrike Psyker. Many of y'all have seen me use this on stream, you guys have seen me devastate hordes, specials, everything. Right now, the Voidstrike Psyker is one of the strongest Psykers in the game, and let me explain why. The Voidstrike Staff has received a major buff with the update, allowing it to hit headshots, which it could do before, but also practically ignore a lot of armor. Are you seeing the kind of damage we're putting out? Yeah, we just one-shot that Mauler right there. With the right build and with the right stats, you can basically destroy anything that comes your way, including crushers. Alright, look at how much we're dealing to that crusher. This is why the Voidstrike Staff is known for being one of the most powerful staffs in the game right now. You can absolutely shred everything with it, okay? Now, the Voidstrike Staff is also unique because it is one of the only staffs that has 2 or more optimal builds. I personally feel that there's 2 main optimal builds that I use, but I think that others can be made as well. The Voidstrike Staff is very powerful, very potent, and very versatile right now. But the gear that you will use, the gear, curios, all that kind of stuff, is the same for both of the builds that I'm going to show you. So I'm going to go through that first, and then we'll work on the builds, and I'll explain to you how it all comes together. So if you want to clear Auric missions without deaths, you want to do the Maelstrom missions, you know, at the hardest difficulty level possible, this is how we did it. We did it with the Voidstrike Staff. Let me show you how it's done. I mean, I cleared Auric with all the other staffs, but still, no deaths. All right, check it out. Okay, so starting off with the gear explanation, the Voidstrike Staff uses the same gear as pretty much all of your other builds, with the exception that your staff is the Voidstrike Staff. For your melee weapon, I highly recommend, okay, the Ulysses Force Sword, the Chain Sword, or a Devil's Claw, or the Officer's Dueling Sword if you like, okay? Why do I recommend these particular options? Because your sword is number 1 used for dodging, and number 2 it's used for emergency situations, or as a counter to mutants. For this, I feel that the Blaze Force Sword, either Deimos or Ulysses, or the Assault Chain Sword is the best possible combination. It's up to you what you want to really use, but in general, if you're going to use the Blaze Force Sword, then stats-wise, please focus on damage, finesse, as per normal. First target if you can. Warp resistance doesn't matter, mobility as high as possible. This affects your dodge distance, sprint speed, alright, so you need this. Damage affects your damage, finesse affects your attack speed, as well as your critical and weak spot damage, right? And your first target affects your first target swing. Why is finesse now important? Because when you do wide swings with your sword, just in case you guys did not know, and I may not have covered this in other videos, but I thought I should show it here. When you swing wide, it will attempt to prefer the weak spot rather than the body. Alright, so in this particular case, if I'm fully charging my swing, right, a fully charged swing will go in general for the weak spot, which means that having a high finesse tends to work in your favor, okay? So it is important, and all swords are like this, so it is important to choose a sword that fits your playstyle. The Force Sword is favored because obviously its Force Special is very powerful, and it also has unlimited dodges, all right? If you take a look at the Chain Sword, instead there's a dodge limit of 4, hence why this weapon may not be as preferable as the Force Sword depending on the style of build that you want to bring out. For most Psyker builds, I will always use the Force Sword above anything else because unlimited dodges can save you in so many situations that honestly, I would feel nearly naked without it. That being said, the 4 dodge limit of the Chain Sword can be modified for the Gun Psyker. So this has more uses for Gun Psykers or for the Voidstrike Psyker simply because the dodge limit doesn't really matter for Voidstrike Psykers as much, since most things will be dead before reaching you. Your Chain Sword tends to be more of a counter mutant, counter heavy armor type dealio, but mostly counter mutant because you won't be applying it to crushers and the like. You'd just be Voidstrike staffing them. Yeah? Okay, so for your Chain Sword, I don't really have any recommendations for the perks and blessings, kind of like with the Ulysses Force Sword. You can do with whatever perks and blessings you want. Pick whatever suits you, okay, honestly. But stats-wise for the Chain Sword, what you need to worry about is the following. Damage is the most important, obviously. Finesse, again, is crucial. The critical and weak spot multiplier on the chainsword is a lot lower than the force sword, but having a higher attack speed is essential to winning. Next, penetration is very important for the chainsword. These 3 stats are the biggest deal ever. Why? Because penetration helps you deal more damage to flak armored and carapace armored enemies. With a properly high enough penetration, you can dish out a lot of damage. Mobility is absolutely crucial as well, but if you have to sacrifice it, you can. I would highly recommend, however, a mobility of above 60. Why? Because this affects your dodge distance as well as your dodge limit. You can go up to a dodge limit of 5 or be as low as 3. Shredder tends to be less important, but if you have it maxed out, you can do some pretty insane shit. So the thing with the chainsword is that you don't really have an option for a dumb stat. Let me just show you for a second what the chainsword can do. If used correctly and with the correct stats, the chainsword can do funky stuff like this. Dealing heavy damage to carapace armored targets with their special. Alright. You can saw through most any enemy nearly instantaneously. Alright. With a nice little heavy swing, most things get chopped apart in 1 swing or 2. Alright. Like so. Oops, sorry. That thing was already half whacked. My apologies. Yeah, you can almost chop through a bulwark from behind. So this kind of thing does happen. Alright, you get a weak spot hit on the Reaper and it's like 2 chops and it's dead. Alright. There you go. Even muties take a lot of damage if you happen to hit a weak spot, or if you get them from behind with a heavy swing, they tend to take a lot of damage from the saw. So the chainsword is a very, very potent option that you can use right now in the game, and hence why it is one of the recommended choices. I still prefer my Blaze Force sword, and I will never not prefer it. But you do have options, okay? I myself test out the chainsword when I want to be funky and when I want to be fresh. All right. Okay. In terms of your Voidstrike Staff, now moving on to your ranged weapon. I actually made this yesterday on stream, and what I will say is that your biggest priority is damage, blast radius, and if you can, charge rate. Charge rate is essential. I made this because it got really good blessings, but the charge rate is abysmal on this thing. That said, I do have Warp Flurry, so it saves me quite a bit of time. That said, if I had a charge rate of, say, 80% on this thing, this would be the best staff in the game, and I would have absolutely no trouble with it. Having a decent warp resistance is also pretty useful for the Voidstrike Staff, but this can be mitigated if you choose the second build that I'm going to show you later. Quell speed, once again, not that important because both styles of builds will have a significant increase to quell speed, thanks to the Solidify ability. Yeah. In terms of perks, I went with Carapace Armor because having this Devastate Crushers is so crucial, and of course, you will want critical strike chance on range. All right. In terms of blessings, Warp Nexus is a very, very good choice. I always recommend Warp Nexus. Your other choice is up to you. If you've got a high enough charge rate, you don't really need Warp Flurry, but you can still make use of it. All right, so these are some of the options. Transfer Peril also works perfectly fine if that's what you want, but you don't want to have a blast radius that is too small. Okay, so I've been working through all of these different staffs, trying out different things, you know, seeing what I can do. And so far, the results have been pretty encouraging. Not too bad, but pretty encouraging. Unfortunately, a lot of these were designed in the older times, so they may not be as perfect as this one. And this one is really, really not perfect, but, you know, until I get a better staff, this will do. So this is actually the Voidstrike Staff I'm using. Terrible stats, but the blessings and the perks carry it through. Okay? In terms of curios, stamina, toughness, max health are pretty standard across the board for all psychers. I use these because they offer me the best choices. Toughness, regeneration, speed, damage resistance to gunners is all good as well. All of this is very helpful. All right? And that is it. Okay? That is it for your gear and curios. Let's move over to the main meat of the build. That is to say, the talent trees. I'm going to go through them. Now, this time, we're not going to go through step by step, one by one. Why? Because we've got 2 builds to cover. I'm going to try and cover it a bit faster for you guys. Let me talk about build number 1. Build number 1 is what I would consider the standardized build for most Psykers. This is a very straightforward build. Nothing fancy, nothing too out there. It just works. It is the exact same build for the Purgative Staff, and it works right here. Sorry, it's the exact same build for the Surge Staff, and it works beautifully well for the Voidstrike Staff as well. You'll pick up Quietude and Warp Expenditure, both of which will help you replenish your toughness since you're always using Peril. Perfect Timing is excellent because you want your warp damage to increase with critical hits. You will want Battle Meditation just to help you quell, especially when you're throwing out a lot of Assail. You want your toughness bonuses here. You will grab Assail and have Ethereal Shards and Quick Shards, all right? Ethereal Shards allowing you to pierce more targets, Quick Shards allowing you to replenish your Assail much faster. You'll want your toughness damage reduction, Mind in Motion to advance the tree. It's not really necessary, but I guess it can be a little bit helpful. Inspiring Presence is a necessity because you have to connect it over here to Kinetic Presence. Kinetic Presence will help you deal with the elites and specialists much more quickly, as well as your whole team deal with them much more quickly. This is very important for high-intensity shock troopers. You want one with the Warp for that good toughness damage reduction. You desperately need this. Believe me. Even with all this toughness damage reduction, we take a lot of damage in Damnation. Enemies hit really hard. So unless you're going to play perfectly, like do no hit any percentage runs, all right, you're going to suffer a lot. Now, toughness damage reduction, again, this is a connecting node. Why? Because the ability for this build is the Telekine Shield. I find that this build works the best with Telekine Shield because Telekine Shield can zone off an area, allow everybody to regenerate toughness within the dome, as well as those who are within the dome when it dissipates, they gain 50% toughness damage reduction. This is very, very good and has saved my team on a lot of situations, all right? So the shield is crucial. You want your peril resistance here so you can go down this tree. You want your health boost so you can go down your main tree and pick up the critical hit chance because it's useful and you should never be without this, okay? With this alone, you can have a base critical hit chance of about 15%, together with the 5% from your staff, the 5% base, and 5% from here. Now, the peril resistance allows you to grab Puppet Master, which we don't care about, toughness damage reduction, and solidity. Did I say solidify earlier? Solidity. Solidity allows you to increase your quell speed by 30%. For this particular build, it is absolutely essential because you're always throwing out your Assail daggers. You need to quell fast so you can spam your Voidstrike Staff. It is absolutely essential to do this, all right? One little trick with the Voidstrike Staff before I go into the last bit of the tree is that when you have it, all right, if you hold down the right-click button and you if you hold down your secondary fire button and you spam your primary fire, you can rapid cast. This doesn't deal a lot of damage, but it can be used to just, if you really, really need to finish something off and you cannot be bothered charging, you can do something like that. Previously, we had to do a quell trick to perform this maneuver, but now you don't have to. It's readily available. I recommend letting it charge a bit, go at a slower rate, because this tends to offer much more damage and stagger than you would get if you were to just do this version, all right? But that version of rapid fire can be used in case you really, really need it, okay? So that is why having a good quell speed is important because it can really help you in those situations. Now, Warp Rider is a must-have because 20% damage from all sources based on your current peril is very, very good. Every build uses Warp Rider because if you're giving up this damage, you are gimping your team. You are a support character that dishes out a lot of damage. There is no reason not to have this. You must have it, okay? Please have it. It is crucial. And I just realized I didn't remove my cam this entire time. Anyway, you can put up with my face for a little while longer. Okay, Empowered Psionics is the next great choice. Why? Because the Empowered Psionics, in the case of the Empowered Assail, will give you 100% peril cost reduction, base damage increased, and it does not consume any charges. This is absolutely excellent, all right? So there's no reason not to have this. Overpowering Souls will guarantee you the chance to get Empowered Psionics on it. You know what? Let me remove my camera now. It's never too late, right? Whee! Okay. Overpowering Souls will give you a guaranteed chance to get Empowered Psionics on elite kills, and of course you'll want to have Psychic Leeching. Using your Blitz while Empowered Psionics is active replenishes 15% toughness to you and your allies in coherency. This is absolutely excellent for team survival. And last but not least, Charged Up will allow you to hold up to 3 stacks of Empowered Psionics. A lot of teams underestimate how useful this is because a lot of Psykers go with Warp Siphon for even more damage. Disrupt Destiny, they forget about this little 15% toughness replenishment. This is how you can keep your whole team alive in terrible situations. Why? Coherency range increased. Are you seeing how this works? This is a more supportive build. This build is good on damage, very supportive, and doesn't sacrifice too much. That's why this is the best standardized Psyker build. This is, to me, the optimal Psyker build. But there is an alternative that works with the Voidstrike Staff. It works in Auric missions, it works in Maelstrom missions. Therefore, I feel it's important to teach you about it. Let me go over to the second build. Now, the second build is similar but different. Or as we like to say, you know, Chinese and all, the wok, the people's champion. I like to say same but different, okay? So what is different about this build and what is similar about this build? Well, the first part of the tree is pretty much the same, but notice how we don't take quick shards. Why? Because there are not enough points in this build to take quick shards. If you feel that you don't need the assail up all the time and, you know, you can manage your assail well, take off quick shards and give yourself an extra talent point. This will help you later on in the tree. Okay, let me show you. Toughness damage reduction here, mind in motion, all of this is the same. Notice that it's all the same all the way up until Telekind Shield. This is where the main difference is. The difference between this build and the last one is the Keystone passive. This is where the main difference is. What is different about the Keystone passive? Well, first of all, we still have Warp Rider, so we're not sacrificing any damage, but we go down this tree instead on the left to get Warp Siphon. Warp Siphon allows you to kill an elite or specialist enemy, which will give you a warp charge for 25 seconds. It will stack up to 4 times, and it will allow you to use your combat ability and spend all warp charges and reduce the cooldown of that combat ability. This results in your combat ability being up quite a bit more than you might expect. This is very, very useful. I love this absolutely. All right. Inner Tranquility then helps you reduce your peril generation so that you can use your peril more often for each warp charge. This is where it gets zany. Because your peril generation becomes very low, you end up being able to spam your shards, your Voidstrike Staffs, you'll be able to cast. This is a more caster focused build with less focus on team support. You still have a decent amount of team support, all right, but less so. Your main form of restoring your team shields is through Telekind Shield. All right, this has cost some weaker skilled teams, especially where players don't realize how much the Psykers are buffing them, right? A lot of players don't realize that Psychic Leeching is so crucial to the builds that they're going without it. They're just like, oh yeah, you know, I can do without this, I'm fine. And then they get ripped. Okay, they just go rip-a-doo right there. Please don't. Okay, please realize that those people taking Empowered Psionics are restoring your toughness. This is why if you go ham and your Psyker is using their own build, or as I like to call them, more selfish builds, although, you know, that's such a negative term, but realistically speaking, these builds are technically selfish in the sense that they're more self-focused rather than team-focused. If your Psyker happens to be using a build like this, you do not get this toughness regeneration. You're on your own. Okay? This is where a lot of teams fail in Damnation, because all these veterans go around, zealots go around. One Psyker takes Psychic Leeching and they feel like gods. Then the next run, you know, they're like, oh my god, I failed my mission. Why? You know, man, there must have been something wrong. No, you cannot expect this, so make sure you have your own way of regenerating toughness and ensuring that your toughness is always topped up. Okay? Best advice I can give you. Warp Siphon also comes with Empyrean Empowerment, where every warp charge gives you 4% base damage. This means that with 4 warp charges, you can get up to 16% base damage. Furthermore, Psychic Vampire. Whenever you or an ally in Coherency kill an enemy, you have a 4% chance to gain a warp charge. This is so useful because your team can restore your warp charges. Then you can take Warp Battery, which gives you 6 warp charges, giving you an extra 8% damage from Empyrean Empowerment and helping you cool down your skill even more. All right. It cools down your skill by a total of 45% with 6 charges, which is really, really awesome, okay? That being said, you do give up quick shards. If you really, really don't want to give up quick shards, you desperately want to say, you know what, I need my quick shards all the time, take off Warp Battery, sacrifice the 8% and go for quick shards. Your quick shards will more than make up for the 8% difference, okay? This is a recommendation that I would make, but it's up to you. You can play it with any style. I've played it without quick shards, gotten used to it, and just thrived off the warp battery because I learned how to use my Voidstrike Staff in situations where I would need it. All right. But Assail is immensely powerful. So you might not want to go without, you might want to go without warp battery for Assail. I leave the choice up to you, but these are the two builds, right? The main difference for both builds is just the keystone. Everything else is relatively the same, and it generally works well. Both builds work swimmingly well, all right? It just depends on whether you want to pull that team support or self-support. You want to support yourself, you can still support your team with the shield, but they're on their own for most of the regeneration. This is where it gets a little bit iffy for a lot of them, because a lot of folks are like, man, without this psychic leeching, right, they tend to die a lot. I'm just going to be very open with you guys, all right? I have seen teams die a lot without psychic leeching because they just don't take care of their own toughness. They think it's the old damnation. They walk around like they're gods, and then they get clapped so fast and then wonder why they're dead. Please, don't be that bad, okay? Be good at the game. Be instantaneously good. As soon as you install the game, you should psychically unlock all your powers. You should know everything about the game instantaneously. The knowledge should just enter your mind, okay? Pray to the Emperor. He will grant the knowledge directly to you. I'm joking. But anyway, all right? Understand the differences between these two builds and then pick whatever suits you. The Voidstrike Staff is that capable. That brings us to the end of the video. If you guys would like a combat demonstration, you want to see the Auric level damnation run where I took no deaths at all. My whole team got through with no deaths. I was using the first version of this build. It was from yesterday night's stream. The full footage will be up on my sub channel. You can go there for the combat demonstration. But for now, I want to thank all the channel members and all the awesome people that make these videos possible. Let me highlight some of these amazing people to you right now, okay? Starting right at the top, we have the following individuals to thank for our success on this channel. I have to thank, first and foremost, River Archer for being a top tipper, Jason Kun for being one of our top super chatters, River Archer for being one of our top super chatters. All right, thank you guys so much, and thank you to River Archer for sponsoring my Krieg Psyker skin as well, okay? In terms of our channel members, we have to thank the following individuals that have made so many things awesome for us. Starting right at the top, we have Big Chungus at the only fan level. We've got Death Dawning 982 at Plus Ultra. We've got Jason Kun at Prestige. We've got Jerry Fast, Rogue Assassin, Zach NFG at Prestige. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to all of our honored robots as well. Thank you to Corey Ryu, Bob John, Cube, Devin Lashin, Mookie Mocha, Rena, Chase Taylor, Nathan Strong, Lady Neo, Joey Danze, Syed Assad, Coda CMF, Kami SMH, Conrad C, and Benjamin Savage. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to all of our cool and weird bots as well. You guys are amazing. Thank you for everything you do for me, okay? I will see you guys on the next video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell button, get those notifications on, and you will never miss a show. All right, the people's champion, The Wok, is gonna leave and work on some other builds right now. So I hope you can smell what The Wok is cooking. See you on the next one.